The important thing is because I wear glasses and we didn't have the right set of safety glasses, I found 2 safety glasses work really well. This one protects the top side, the bottom side, and the hat protects anything from coming in. What more could you want?
Welcome to Sam's Garage, presented by NHOU Undercoatings. On this episode of Sam's Garage, the guys from Locar help Sam install a new intake system on the Jeep Rock Crawler. Then Sam and Doug mock up the transmission in the Alpha 1 GTO. Sam shows us how to fix a common problem on a customer's Ford F-150 engine. And Sam showcases a few products from NHOU for marine applications. Kevin and Travis from Locar are in the garage to help Sam install a new intake system on the engine for the Jeep Rock Crawler. The new parts include an intake manifold, fuel injectors, throttle body, and air cleaner. The throttle body is drive-by-wire, which will provide great throttle response and control.
This is exciting, Kevin. With every part we install, we're getting closer and closer with this project.
Yes, we are.
What's next?
Well, what I'd like to do is show you what we call our 14-inch Classic. This plastic intake's not going to work in our application. We're not really utilizing all the EPA stuff this does that the factory has to deal with. So we'll take this off and use the 14-inch Classic, which literally is called that because we use a 14-inch air cleaner like on a classic car. It's got a little twist. We're able to utilize some bracketry to use drive-by-wire.
And that's going to get it out and away from the front accessories as well.
Right. All right, Sam, I'm going to let Travis explain more about this kit to you. I'm going to get the tape off the heads in the Jeep.
You're the perfect one to do that since you're so tall, right?
There we go.
All right, Travis, how do I do this?
Well, Sam, we got these O-rings from Holley. They've got a groove that's actually cut in here that the O-rings snap into. It's pretty cool. What I like about the 14-inch Classic kit on the LS Classic line is it is pretty universal as far as it can look like a small block, big block, or a 409. You can use the same intake system with that open air cleaner element.
And once again, when you guys are installing these O-rings, don't even think about stretching them. Just either press them straight down or maybe even pinch them in a little bit so that you don't have any residual O-rings sticking out when you get towards the end. And then what I like to do is when I go to install the intake manifold on the engine, because we're using O-rings, I put a little bit of Sil-Glide synthetic grease around the ports so that when I have to put the intake manifold on and I have to move it any way at all, if I have to shift it, it's not going to make the O-ring stick and roll and cause a vacuum leak. It's happened many times.
Exactly.
Hey, Sam, wouldn't it be easier if you put the grease over here on the intake?
Well, if you put the grease on the intake, you're only going to concentrate on the O-rings themselves. And let's say you have an application like a F-body Camaro where half the engine is underneath the cowl, and you're doing something where that intake manifold is going to slide a lot. You'll wear out the lube that you put on the O-ring, whereas you won't wear out the lube that you put on the head.
Because you're going to move it back and forth on the head.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Whenever you're using an ARP-style hardware, the washer they give you has a flat spot on one side and an indention on the other. Flat spot goes down. Indention goes towards the head of the bolt. So what we're doing is the injectors that Kevin and Travis have decided to put in the vehicle, you're gonna have to change the bottom O-ring so it goes into the intake manifold better, right? Anytime you're installing anything rubber, O-rings or anything like that, you wanna lube it. In a case of a fuel injector, you wanna use a good amount of lube on the O-ring itself, making sure not to get any here or on the exit of it, okay?
All right, Sam, we finished putting the brackets on over there. So once we've got all this bolted in, we can put our plate on there, bolt our throttle body up. Obviously, we're still in mock-up, so we're not putting any of our sensors in and all that. So we'll be sure to tape off those holes so we don't drop something in there later. You know, this is a 4150 flange, and just to keep from having to mess with all the different intakes, We'll use this on the throttle body side and that side down. So now, when we do this bracket, it can be oriented one of two ways.
Depending on where you want the motor. for the
Whether you
throttle
want your
body.
throttle body forward or backwards.
Kevin, I like that a lot. It looks old school fresh. You could never tell that there was a fly-by-wire throttle body up under that air filter.
Yeah, you get all the modern convenience and the tunability of the drive-by-wire, but you still kind of look like a carburetor, and you get simple, easy to change filters, just compact unit.
Yeah, I do like those valve covers. I know you like the big block chrome ones, but those look really nice on here. Now you have more than just that kind of intake manifold, right?
We do. This is, as the name implies, 14-inch classic, but there are several classic engines that GM made, and we've got recreations, you know, our version of those, 63, 62, and 57 Fuelies.
Welcome back to Sam's Garage, presented by NHOU Undercoating. Sam and Doug work on installing the flywheel, clutch, and transmission in the Alpha 1 GTO. They chose to go with a 5-speed manual transmission, which will give Doug complete control over which gear to select and always be in the power band.
Well, here's another big part of the project, Doug. Matt with American Powertrain really came through, giving us this TKX transmission, 5-speed, compact. This is their newest line. It's going to handle all the power that 347 is going to put down.
Yeah, now we've got to have to go ahead and put it in the car, mock everything up, make sure the transmission angles are right, and we want to make sure that the drive shaft, so when it moves up and down, it's in a neutral position. So we've got a lot of work in setting all of this up, and we're going to most likely have to cut the brackets and fabricate some to be able to hold this beast. We got a lot of power coming out of that motor.
Yes, we do. We don't want to twist this car in half. Now, with this kit, Matt includes a 26-spline Chevy clutch with the Ford flywheel, and the input shaft of the transmission is correct to the pallet bearing of the Ford. All we got to do is mock it up. Let's get it started. First, we're going to put in the clutch and the bell housing so we can put on the transmission.
Yeah, what we're doing right here is we're aligning the clutch plate, and we're using a clutch aligning tool. So this end right here goes into the pilot bushing, and this will go into the clutch plate itself. And what it does is you have to align it, because if you don't, when you go to put the transmission in, it won't go in because it's going to be hitting the pilot bushing. So you really need an alignment tool. Now this is a universal. We can change the tips, but they also make car-specific ones that'll have the right splines, and it's going to have the right end to be able to go right into the pilot bushing. That's real important.
Okay, Doug, it looks like the transmission's gonna fit in the tunnel, no problem. Even looks like the shifter location is gonna be correct once it's bolted in, but the original transmission mounts are gonna have to go.
You know, I saw that, Sam. You know, the problem is we missed it by that much.
Only that much.
That much.
Not bad.
So now we got a lot of work. We're gonna have to cut these out.
Yep, we're gonna cut those out, put it back in, and see what we need to do. We'll get the frame stiffeners, put them along here. That way we'll have a good foundation to build a cross member.
Yeah, that'd be great.
The shifter that Matt provided with this TKX transmission actually can be turned 180, putting the shifter 4 inches closer or 4 inches back. Not only that, but the offset shifter has a 360-degree turn to it. It's got another offset that's 1 inch longer. So the shifter's perfect. All right, Doug, the transmission is in. Look at that, it clears everything in there. What we have to do next is make our subframe connectors so that we strengthen up the subframe. Then we're going to make our cross member.
Yeah, we also have to make sure that the transmission is in line with the rear end. We're going to have a slip yoke, because as this rear end tends to move around, the slip yoke will allow yoke to slide in and out however is needed. And yeah, once we get it all buttoned up, it looks good, but I'm amazed at how well
it does fit well.
It fits.
Get to the bell housing bolts and everything. Then what we have to do is, before we finalize everything, we did not put the hydraulics in. So before the transmission goes in one final time, you put the bell housing in, you take some measurements from the end of the pressure plate to the surface of the bell housing, take that measurement, shim your hydraulic slave cylinder correctly so you have roughly 10 thousandths air gap, and then we could put the transmission in one final time.
Yeah, and the hydraulic systems are great because that really gives you a lot of ability to move stuff around. The old mechanical systems, it was difficult to get a line of hydraulics. It just moves the clutch in and it's great.
Sam shows us how to install the cam phaser noise repair kit from NHOU Motorsports. One of Sam's longtime customers reached out reporting a check engine light in his Ford F-150. The repair kit will ensure the engine stays in phase and no more check engine lights.
We all know that the Ford F-150 is the #1 selling vehicle in America. This customer of mine has been a long-time customer, calls me up and says, Sam, I want to put an engine in the car. I said, why? He goes, well, the variable valve timing is messing up. I got engine codes. What can I do to fix it? I said, well, let's call NHOU Motorsports Engineering and install one of their cam phaser lockout kits. That way you go in, you fix the problem one time permanently forever, and you save yourself a bunch of money. Let's go ahead and first we're going to start with the driver's side. We're going to pull the valve covers off, pull the cam gears off. On the bench, I'm going to show you guys how to install the lockout kit. Anytime I'm doing work like this where I've removed the coil packs, now I've got the holes for the spark plugs exposed, I'm going to be removing the valve cover, and there's always debris around the intake manifold. You can tell squirrels and stuff, even pine straw will get up in this engine bay. So I take a vacuum cleaner and vacuum everything out of the way, or you can take shop air and blow everything out of the way. But make sure you do one or the other. Now that I have my cam phaser exposed, in the kit there's a wedge, and this is the most important tool in the whole kit. We don't want to remove the timing cover, so therefore we don't want to remove the chain. NHOU gives you this wedge. It's got a slot right here where you can take a flathead screwdriver and really get it in there. You want to put it down where the chain is, tap it in there, making sure it's perfect, tug on it a couple times, making sure it's actually wedged in there, staying in place. Then you want to take yourself a marker, very important. We mark a dot on the link of the chain with a corresponding mark on the cam gear. I like to put 2. All right, so now that we got the cam phaser out and in our hands, we have to do the work and put the lockout in it. Now that I've got the bolt marked, I'm going to go to the vise. I'm going to loosen the bolt that I just marked, just keeping it loose. I'm going to remove the other 4. Now, there's going to be a spring that's going to want to pop out. You have to be careful. There we go. When you lift it aside, right here is a spring. Put your finger on it, make sure. I'm going to put this back in. Now we've got our openings exposed. In the kit, NHOU has provided a black and a blue lockout. The black is for an aftermarket Dorman cam phaser. In this case, we have an OEM cam phaser. You can tell by the shape of it. That one is loose. This one is loose. This one is tight. And this one seems to be the best one. You want to put it in the tightest hole, okay? So you put it in there, just like that. Then bring the plate back around. Make sure you put your spring back in. I'm going to snug the hardware down. When you wipe this down, make sure you do not wipe your timing marks off. That'll ruin your day. All right, so we're all done up under the hood. We've got everything reassembled. Now all I got to do is tell the computer what I just did to the engine, which is remove the variable valve timing. And in the kit, NHOU Motorsports Engineering includes the programmer. This is very easy to install. Just hook it up to the OBD2 port. Make sure your battery's got a good charge, at least 12.3 or more. Just follow the instructions. Don't forget that there is a sticker that comes with the kit. So you want to put your sticker on just in case the dealer is doing something and they want to do an update or a recall. They won't accidentally reprogram the computer and costing you a bunch of money. Now these trucks have 2 inherent problems. One is the cam phaser is going out on you, making noise and causing an out of sync cam and crank phase. So therefore there's going to be a check engine light. The second problem they have is the timing guides that the chain rides on is all plastic, and what happens is if you use bad gas, you have spark knock, detonation, it rattles the chain so much it'll actually crack and break the timing chain guide. The cam phaser kit from NHOU will take care of the cam phaser portion, but if you go in and you see that you have any timing component issues, you want to take care of the timing guides and chain and tensioners first, then go in and put in your NHOU kit. That way you're fixed forever and you'll prevent these problems.
Welcome back to Sam's Garage, presented by NHOU Undercoating. It's no secret that NHOU offers products to protect your vehicles from rust and corrosion. They also offer products for marine applications as well. Their marine spray will not only protect your boat and trailer from rust and corrosion, but from rodents as well.
In the last 2 years, the marine sports has really skyrocketed. This is a very expensive sport. As you can see, all these boats around me, $150,000 to $250,000. And you guys really want to protect your investment just like you would your car or truck. The trailers that the boats sit on, a lot of them are aluminum, but on these aluminum trailers are going to be a lot of steel parts that can be corroded by salty air or even the salt in the ocean. So NHOU has a marine application where you could spray the trailer and all of its components and protect it from any corrosion if you're sitting it in storage or if you have it in your garage, let's say in Florida or on the East Coast anywhere. And what it'll do is it'll not only protect the trailer and all of its hardware and parts on the trailer, but it'll also repel rodents. Because while the boat's in storage, it's gonna be most likely 6 months that it's sitting there. And there are openings in the boat that the rodents can wanna go into, make a habitat, chew up your wires, and really cost you some money. So if you spray the trailer, the odor in the NHOU oil will actually repel the rodents from ever even coming towards the trailer or even the boat. Because if they were to get to the back where the transom is and the engines are, there's a bilge back there and they can go through the rubber bellows and get into the boat no problem. This is where you want to spray NHOU, especially if you guys are storing your boat. You got the outboard, and then you have the engine compartment on the other side of that wall. Well, in between the outboard and there is going to be billows that transfer electronics or even hydraulic hoses from the inside to the outside. And the only thing separating the inside and outside are those rubber billows, of which a rodent can easily chew through, going into a cozy environment, making themselves a nest and eating up all your wires. But if you spray NHOU marine application all over the trailer itself and even out here on the outboard, it'll completely repel those rodents, completely protecting your investment. Hey, Bartholomew, what are you doing over there?
Oh, hey, Sam. I'm just using my new NHOU Marine product.
You know, not only does that stuff protect, but it also helps keep rodents out. Good idea.
It does.
You know, in the beginning of the year, we went and met with Joe DuPont and the family of NHOU up in New Hampshire. What a great facility. What a great family of products to help protect your investment. Whether it's NHOU Clear to get your undercoat of your vehicle protected, along with keeping the rodents out. We got NHOU Back to Black. We even got the hard coating for your new vehicles. For you DIYers at home who want to protect your vehicle and make it really glimmer, we've got NHOU ceramic coating. But most of all, your most expensive investment, which is NHOU Marine. You protect your trailer, all of its hardware, anything that could possibly corrode while storing your boat, that protectant's gonna absolutely protect. You spray it on your trailer and it's gonna help keep the rodents away from the boat as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this season. I'm gonna go grab me some lunch.